éviter de pousser.
Howdy, hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Can I hear this? I may be able to hear this. There's music. Welcome, everybody, to the show. My name is Brandon. It is the new releases show here from Variant Edition. What a week. I've had fun. I hope you all are doing great out there. This week has been a bit wild for me. Yeah, let's do this. I don't know. Putting the camera more behind the computer so I don't always look like I'm looking like all around. Hi everybody, welcome. Always hectic to start the show because cat things need to happen and life things need to happen. I have ye old Stacky here today and some news and some happenings. So I've been all right. So been an eventful week, been an eventful weekend. My dad and my stepmom came up for a day and stayed the night here. They're bringing up a washer dryer combo and just kind of chatting, and met my girlfriend. And my stepmom and my girlfriend colluded. They're colluding, sharing information because I left them alone and they had to talk. So there was some information shared. Outrageous. Not okay. Very upset, clearly. So I do have a new washer dryer. Very fancy man. That's going to work out better for me. I get to use some more storage space because the washer dryer I did have works fine. Folks, I want to tell you this right now. If you're watching this and you're local and you can pick up a washer and dryer and you need a washer and dryer, they work fine. They're pretty great. And for you folks watching now, free. You just have to come and get them. So if you're in the mood to grab a washer and dryer, let me know. You can post in the comments. You can do a private message if you don't want your business out in these streets. And yeah, you can get a free washer dryer, courtesy of Variant Edition. Wow, doing wild on the show today. I'm trying to remember. There was a whole bunch of things that happened today that I'm just like, I would like to talk about that on the show. So I was on Diamond's website and there was this advertisement for a book. Let's see. A book called... No, I'll have to look up what the book was called. But it was pitched in the ad as like Harry Potter, but slutty. Which, you know, you're already on like good footing when you're just like, yeah, but what if Harry Potter And here's the sad part. It doesn't seem to be about that at all. It's called Guinevere and the Divinity Factory. There's 4 issues solicited. The first issue is out. The second issue is what's being advertised on Diamond's website. And I need to read you this series of solicits for the first 4 issues, because it is basically kind of telling this stupid mini story And I don't think this is Harry Potter. I don't think this is a Harry Potter that fuck. I don't. But first issue, Guinevere and the Divinity Factory, starts out with, like Harry Potter, but slutty. A former stripper seeks to become a spell-casting witch. She attends a party by the great wizard Gatsby, who gives her an amulet to see into the spirit world and sends her on a magical quest to demonstrate her character. Issue 1. Issue 2, follow the adventures of Guinevere, a former stripper out to prove herself as a spell-casting witch. In this issue, she investigates a pharmaceutical company secretly run by a psychotic android. So, very Harry Potter, right? Pharmaceuticals, androids, fights, but slutty. Third issue, a succubus seeks to seduce Guinevere to her side by taking her back to her instances of abuse and sordid work as a stripper. After being rebuffed, the demoness leads her into an ambush by a homicidal android. So a lot of android stuff. A lot of Harry Potter but slutty. But if we mean slutty, apparently we mean that her sexuality included work of abuse and was sordid. So bad. Don't like it. Not a fan. Fourth issue, because the fifth issue isn't solicited yet, but fourth issue, captured by a homicidal android, very Harry Potter. Guinevere must find a way to escape and uncover the secrets of the powerful biotech company that appears in league with the supernatural. We are not stocking this on shelf at Variant Edition, just so you know. It seems bonkers. I am a little intrigued as to the hows and whys of this all happening. Like there's that little bit of me that wants to read it. Kind of like there's a little bit of me that wants to read Tarot, Witch of the Black Rose by Jim Ballant, because it seems freaking bonkers. That's the one book where one of the issues features quite heavily a haunted vagina. There's a curiosity there, but also I don't want to reward this behavior because it seems a little wild. Bryce, you're right. I do want to talk a little bit about the Hush sequel that's coming up. And you know what? Might as well talk about the Joker sequel. So two things. Boom. So the Joker sequel, to start out with, just because it's a little quickie. What a play to have a movie that really identified or that was identified a lot and carried a little bit, I would say, by a bit of the more incel-y community of the comics industry. Definitely favored by there in terms of a lot of the hero worship of a character like the Joker, and a lot of the play, and then to turn it around and be like, but y'all are secure enough to watch a musical, right? For the second one, like I'm pretty sure that the messaging and the things that were taken from this movie really connect with people who are very secure with who they are, and if they might hear a tune of some kind. Maybe Lady Gaga's there. The movie is apparently doing absolute garbage. And not a lie, one of the worst superhero launches of all time. So like super wild that they thought it would connect with the audience who really connected with the first one. There's a disconnect there. There is. I can understand trying to do something artful. I can understand trying to do a musical. There's a disconnect with how you approach these two things. Super weird, I think. Now, As for Hush 2, so it was announced at New York Comic Con this weekend that there would be a return of Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee to the Batman title, the ongoing Batman title, for at least 6 issues to start out with, and maybe 6 issues later is what I'm hearing, with a little gap in the middle because Jim Lee is very busy. In addition to being one of the biggest artists in the comics industry, period, dating back to the 90s. He runs a significant chunk of DC and coordinates a lot of stuff. So, a lot of drawing time is very very hard to put together when you're, doing a lot of other work. But it was announced that the current arc and run by Chip Zdarsky and Jorge Jimenez is going to be wrapping up with this current story arc that's happening right now. And outside of it, in March, Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb are returning to the regular Batman book. That thing is going to be a monster because, hey, Jim Lee moves copies. Jeff Loeb moves copies. It's Batman. It's a sequel to one of the best-selling comic storylines of all time. I bought Hush back in the day. I really loved it at the time. I've revisited it, and it's not for me anymore. But I understand how it connects with people. I understand, so much of it is Jim Lee drawing, the Batman Pantheos. You want to see those images. Carl says, for Joker 2, is visually amazing, has great atmosphere, and is very well acted, but Joker 2 should have never been a musical. And you know what? I don't think he's wrong. There's sort of a time and a place for these sort of things. And with the presentation that you have of the first movie, yeah, I can understand that having the second movie kind of being what you want, after the success, it made over $1 billion. You get to cash a little bit of a check, and really do whatever you want with a topic. That is how Kevin Feige is one of the movies that we're going to do is Guardians of the Galaxy. It's going to have a raccoon and a tree and a whole bunch of wild space stuff. You think of that in terms of pitching from Marvel. You only get that if you've had great success and can cash a little bit of a check. And sometimes it works out where you kind of caught the audience and hit them at the right time and with the right collection of ideas. And then there's things where you just you biff it, friends. You just biff it real hard. Now, that said, still want to see that movie. Still want to see Joker 2. Again, morbidly curious. I want to see these things. I want to know kind of the breadth of things that are happening. And yeah, I don't know. I like comics. I don't know if you guys know that. We're going to get to Stacky here in a little bit. But I wanted to bring up a little something. Carl, I completely understand. And if I was just going to see it because I wanted to see something that I knew I would enjoy, I would probably take you up on that. But there's these dual parts of me that's here's a thing that I really enjoy, and here's a thing that I think is just going to be a fascinating train wreck. And I feel like that's going to appeal to that side of me. And here's the what I'm going to call the on blast portion of the show. Feel free to respond. A while back, I was talking about the Penguin show with my girlfriend, who was trying to remember which Colin was being the Penguin. And bless her, she went with Colin Firth. And beautiful, love the attempt. And I was just like, oh, honey, no, that's Colin Farrell. Colin Firth and Colin Farrell are very different. And she's like, no, pretty sure samesies. Pretty sure same. So it came up today with Craig, our part-timer at Variant, about he wanted to watch The Penguin, and this came up. And so I sent off a message. And see, I'm going to put your points out there. I'm going to put your points out there because these are not technically wrong, I will say, but I still think they're very different actors. All right. So the response to Craig also thinks you're bananas for thinking Colin Firth and Colin Farrell are samesies. She says, okay, 1, dark hair, 2, accents, 3, white dudes, 4, been in some movies, same. And I love this because she's right. Those points are correct, technically. But there's a big difference between stuttery Colin Firth and kind of a smoother Colin Farrell and the different roles that they do. And I love everything about it. Just makes me happy. Makes me happy inside. There we go. Let's watch. Let's do this. Absolutely. I'll take some mashups, friends. I will absolutely take some mashups of Colin Firth and Colin Farrell. Let's go. Yeah, makes my heart happy, honestly. So if y'all want to chew on that, from what you're hearing, absolutely go nuts. I'm gonna start hitting on this stack. Ooh la la, look at you, Stacky. Smoochy. I'm gonna start with a bargain restock here. I'm trying to do a little bit of sandwich, some graphic novels, some single issues, and see how this goes. I'd ordered a bunch of bargain stuff for more of the all ages young adult. I love this book. When Snapdragon, I saw it on the bargain thing. I definitely got it because I can sell it to folks for $13 and still make sure I stay in business, baby. And for those of you who are trying to math that out, $13 is generally cheaper than 2 single issues right now. And look at that. That's a chunk of content. This is why a lot of young adults are going for graphic novels, because they are just more cost effective and you can get more of a complete story. As like the quick sort of like side effect as to why the industry is kind of drifting over yonder, basically, with a lot of things. Snap's town has a witch. At least that's the rumor. In reality, Jack's just a Crocs-wearing internet-savvy old lady who sells the skeletons of roadkill online. It's creepy, sure, but Snap thinks it's kind of cool too. Snap needs a favor from this old woman. So she begins helping Jax with her strange work. Snap gets to know her and realizes that Jax may in fact have real magic and an unlikely connection to Snap's family past. Ketley is a Chicago-based writer and artist. She's best known as the co-writer and cover artist for the Lumberjane series, which was really huge. And this is a great kind of all ages, kind of spooky, mildly YA fantasy book. Really like it. They are fairly different Collins. She also put it to what she calls the table at her work, her coworkers at lunchtime, and they also were against her. I'm sorry, I'm putting you on blast today. I promise not to do this, often, because A, that's rude, and B, I like you, so it's bad to just be like, and here's another thing. Becomes like a routine from like a 90s stand-up. Not happening. But this is fun. A fancy glass bottle Pepsi from across the seas because a local store, Westgate Meats, had a flat of 24 of them for $15 Canadian. I was like, well, I mean, whatever. I'll eat the fancy things. We talked about Chip Zdarsky wrapping up his run. Well, this features the Joker Year One story and a chunk of the Chip Zdarsky run. I'm doing great with words today. I've absolutely adored this run. Chip has done a little bit of Cosmic, pulling from a little bit of Grant Morrison stuff, and bleeding into his own kind of oeuvre where he really builds in a lot of heart and a lot of character into his storytelling. And so I've really enjoyed his Batman run, and I'm very excited for folks to continue the run in graphic novel. This does go into some Joker origin stuff while building the more kind of cosmic-y story that Chip was telling all along, and gets you to some big friggin' ideas with the Batmans. We have this Star Trek Lower Decks graphic novel, Warp Your Own Way, from Ryan North, who did do a series of Lower Decks single issues, and will be doing the Star Trek Lower Decks ongoing comic that will be coming out that continues the series on from the TV show that is wrapping up its run. So there will be more original stories. This one is, as it says, warp into the action with Star Trek's first ever interactive original graphic novel. This is basically a choose your own adventure style graphic novel with the characters from Star Trek Lower Decks. I am so excited for folks to really get to dig into this and read this, because man, Ryan North is one of the most creative creators out there right now. A little redundant, I understand. But the way that he approaches a lot of even these properties that aren't his own creations, he did some similar things with the Adventure Time series when he was the main writer of that one of the comic. Did some really cool things with that. This here, you get to go in a lot of places, and it really fits in with the Lower Decks TV show. Now, I couldn't remember if I'd actually watched, or sorry, if I actually talked about this last week. So if this is a repeat, please, Bryce, yup, I agree. Please bear with me. I want to say this came in a little bit later. All right, because Image was late last week. That's why. So I want to talk a little bit about the Infernals. Abe Morgenstern, the son of Satan, has 1 month to live. But before he dies, he must decide which of his 3 wayward children, volatile narcissist Nero, conflicted field operative Jackal, or the troubled schoolgirl Bee, will inherit his shadowy empire. But with the forces of heaven, hell, and everywhere in between bearing down on them, will they survive long enough to take control of the apocalypse? And is Abe really willing to give up being the Antichrist, or does he have something up his sleeve? So this is from Ryan Parrott, who's done stuff for the Power Rangers series and a Rogue Sun kind of superhero series happening more at Image. And John J. Pearson, who's done Blue and Green and Department of Truth. I love John J. Pearson. He's absolutely amazing. He has this kind of ethereal look to him, which works really good for Infernals. This is basically What If Succession, but done as basically who's going to take control of the apocalypse. And really good, really wild storytelling, and hits a lot of the Succession beats of power and being a little bit of a Nepo baby and really encountering life and trying to survive. while also kind of being a little bit of a crime-y story. I really enjoy it. Oh, that is something else that I wanted to say. So I'm ramping up some writing stuff, and for Variant Edition and for what I write for the Indirect Market, an Eisner nominated comics journalism series. I was being roasted, and rightfully so, and have been many times in my past, actually, because so many things that I encounter are my absolute favorite. So I'll talk about things like, oh my goodness, I really enjoy this. This is my absolute favorite right now. And it happens with a lot of things because I love a lot of things. Got a big heart, friends, and it got a lot of room in there. And I just feel pretty intense about the things that I really, really enjoy, folks I really like. And I can't stop it. So instead of kind of pulling back on things being my absolute favorite, I've decided that I'm going to start doing sort of a best of the week series where I talk about the thing that I enjoyed most reading this week, but I'm calling it Brandon's absolute favorite. And I'll be doing it sort of more the end of each week, putting it out there on Variant socials and on the Indirect Market Substack. And yeah, because like I'm thinking about this stuff anyways, might as well write it down and get it out there. Yeah, that's how autocorrect goes. What a helpful resource. All right, single issues, let's go. We've got Godzilla's Monster Piece Theater, which is super bonkers. It's Tim Scioli doing some wild kind of Kirby-esque old school comics storytelling where Godzilla fights, and this is not joking, the Great Gatsby, Jay Gatsby, dude from the Time Machine, Sherlock Holmes, and who's this? Spoilers, not spoilers. It might be Dracula. In old school comic style. It is super bonkers. I had so much fun. I know a lot of people are having so much fun. I've got so many orders for this because people really enjoyed Tom Scioli and his wildness. So I'm very excited for folks to dig into that. We've got a couple of anthology series because it's spooky season. We have Headless Horseman from Dark Horse, and we have Voices in My Head. These are two very different anthologies, but with very similar mindsets. So the Voices in My Head is from Joe Pruitt, who back in the day did, oh my goodness, that's really gonna bug me. Oh, Negative Burn, thank you. I knew this would be in here somewhere. So Negative Burn was an anthology series that he put together with a whole bunch of really interesting creators. And this is his attempt at kind of popping through anthologies again. And I'm really excited that he's doing this because he is such a voice from the history of comics, had such an eye for talent. And so you do have folks that he crossed paths with, like Andrew Robinson, who is currently doing Standstill, and some amazing art. You have Phil Hester coming through here. You have Michael Gaydos, who co-created Jessica Jones, and Juan Do, who has done some amazing stuff. So you have all of these things happening with these kind of spookier stories. Are really, I think this is really cool in terms of if you like kind of a spookier story and a little bit of comics history coming back around. And Headless Horseman is more of a modern anthology series with a lot of more modern creators, doing a lot of kind of spooky Frankenstein-y things and in more of the Dark Horse horror vein. We're going to go back and forth talking about I say back and forth. So much of this pile is DC Comics. So you know what? Let's just do it in a chunk. And let's start out with the one that people want to know the most about. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Thanks, music, for filling in the blanks here. We have Absolute Wonder Woman, part of the new Absolute line, and 3 titles were, well, I guess not announced because one of them was announced before, but 3 titles were solidified for March of next year in the Absolute line. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Absolute Wonder Woman, my goodness, this Absolute line is amazing. It's my absolute favorite. Ding. Where the Absolute Batman took the Batman mythos and kind of flipped it on its head, you have a little bit of an inversion here with Wonder Woman, where Wonder Woman is taken from Themyscira. The Amazons do not kind of end up in the good graces of the gods. It's taken from Themyscira and dropped into hell, where she grows up and has to really hold her own. What I love about this book is the core of the character, and actually in all of the Absolute titles for that I've read, including Absolute Superman, which is coming out soon. We got to read a preview PDF. I really enjoy these books. The core of the characters are true. The core of the characters, this feels like Batman, this feels like Wonder Woman, this feels like Superman, except their circumstances are different. So what if they weren't afforded opportunity? What if they weren't given some of the privilege that they actually have? Like Batman being a billionaire, or Wonder Woman having the support of her family and powers of gods and all this kind of stuff, or Superman coming from a higher part of Kryptonian life instead of sort of the lower depths. It's really amazing stuff, taking this inversion, and it kind of applies to growing up maybe in these times where you have these structures that are really hard to break into, that you have and no matter how hard you work, sometimes like you can work 2-3 jobs and just be kind of surviving, whereas these structures and everyone saying like, oh well, you should have these things by now, the structures don't exist like they used to. So you have a lot of this baked in the characters, but you also have their altruism, their push, their wonder, a little bit of a pun. And you also have absolutely amazing storytellers like Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman. I really dug this. There's a gentleness to this. There's a scope to this that I am absolutely really digging right now. And I really think that, folks, if you are trying out these books, you're going to fall in love with them. Absolute Batman has been a monster seller. Folks are going bananas over it. It is super hard to find. But file customers, friends, here, hi, if you're watching this, I might have a couple copies aside if you folks are interested in reading Absolute Batman. I don't keep copies aside to make a whole bunch of money off them. I keep copies aside to make sure that people are reading these books, to make sure that you're experiencing a lot of really cool stories, because the Absolute Batman thing is really cool. And I can sell them to randos who are coming in and looking for 5 copies, or I can sell them to a reader who's going to really enjoy the book and grab issue 2, grab issue 3, and it can help build parts of this industry. And that's really what I'm aiming to do. And with great stories like this, I think I can be a little part of that. I think so many of you are going to enjoy Absolute Wonder Woman. Some of them are in your files already because I make executive decisions and some people trust me. So I'm just trying to make sure that folks are really getting the stories that they're really going to enjoy and go from there. So we're going to talk about some of the other DC launches very quickly. All of these have either new creators or new storylines. This Superman story features, is that Superwoman? Who is that? Why is that? How is that? Well, there's some stories here, and it is building to some pretty big things, including a really big reveal, honestly, at the end of this. That is kind of bonkers. that hits on a little bit of nostalgia, 90s nostalgia, and really kind of builds out just a large story that should be pretty cool. We have Harley Quinn 44. That features the new creative team of Elliot Kellen and Mindy Lee. What I love about this is because you can start on here and find Harley Quinn sort of a little out of sorts, thinking, I should go back to my roots in Gotham when I first got here, just a horrible part of the city. And she goes there and finds it's been very gentrified and kind of makes a vow to make that section of the city garbage again for the freaks, for the weirdos, for the people who are just trying to survive in her weird way. And it's, my goodness, it was so fun and very cathartic. I love so much of it. We have this Green Arrow number 17, which actually kind of wraps up Joshua Williamson's run with a lot of things that have been happening with Green Arrow, and then shoots it off into the new era with Chris Condon, who you might know from That Texas Blood, a very cool noir series that was happening. And finally, no, not finally from DC. We have the DC Horror 4-issue miniseries that features some short DC horror stories featuring characters. And these covers, good Lord, I am creeped out by them. And there's a series of them. Yikes. And something that really grabbed me this week, Green Lantern Dark. So kind of secretly, Elseworlds books have been building these longer stories. There's so many pages in this for the price of basically most of these comics that I showed you today. The $4.99 American, $6.99 Canadian price, basically. There is a chunk of story in here. This is from Tate Brombadell and Werther Dell'Edera. Werther is the artist of Something is Killing the Children, a huge story. And here they're telling a story of this Green Lantern in a different universe where everything's dark, the monsters are kind of slowly coming in, and there's not a lot of hope, but there is this Green Lantern, there's this light, there's this person who offers a bit of peace. Now, they don't feel like that because they feel like there might be the reason why the darkness is encroaching, because it is sort of a last hope. They're being followed, and so there's a lot of hardship involved. But this series, this first issue, just bleeds this idea of there's always a light in the darkness. There's always somebody fighting. There's always a reason to rally around the people who are trying to just make this world better, even in the face of just impending doom and face of just hardships all around. I adored this book. I felt so much from it, and I really hope that folks really connect with it as well. We've got a few copies in store. We've got the prequel to Alien Romulus, if you want to check that out. It does featuring a foreword from the director of the movie. This is from Zach Thompson and Daniel Picciotto. I'm assuming that is Italian. And as done, ratified in the Behind the Bastards Accords. I love that podcast. If a country has committed genocide, you are allowed to make fun of their accent. So Daniel Picciotto. Yeah. I know a lot of people who've been waiting for this. It was supposed to be out last week. I got calls last week from folks who aren't necessarily comic fans, but are really Alien fans, trying to like, I need this book. It's supposed to be out. This site says it's out. I'm like, I'm sorry. Sometimes websites don't update things when things are delayed a little bit. This is not out until today, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, a lot of folks looking for that. I'm really excited for them because apparently Alien Romulus was a really good movie. Haven't seen it yet. I hope to. We have the new Iron Man series from Spencer Ackerman and Julius Ohata. This is building up a wild story, the Stark-Roxxon War. So it is basically kind of doing a little bit of the business war stuff, but with sort of like a bit of altruism built into it, because Tony Stark is not our world's billionaires. He is an altruistic billionaire trying to do his best, even though he's very conceited. And you get these stories like this where Tony Stark is going to try and use his resources, use his company to fight up against Roxxon, who is, generally speaking, a force for evil in the Marvel universe, and as seen very specifically in the pages of Thor for the past few years. Been really a thorn in the side of folks who are just trying to be chill as heck. I forgot about a DC one. This Nightwing start here with Dan Waters, who I absolutely love, and Dexter Soy. This is taking over from... I forgot to bring Detective Comics. Oh my God. Okay. I will be talking to you about Detective Comics because there's some huge things that happen in that. If you're a Batman fan and you aren't going to pick up this Detective Comics series, Tom Taylor's going to start it. It reminded me because Tom Taylor is just off of this Nightwing book and Dan Waters is taking over. So briefly, Nightwing is still rocking in Bloodhaven, trying to do his best as a billionaire philanthropist on his own accord, and as Nightwing. His half-sister is the mayor, and some unsavory characters are coming around and really putting the gears to things are happening. It builds in some circus elements. It builds in some mythology elements. It's going to be a real neat take on Nightwing, and I hope that folks kind of stick around to see what that is after Tom Taylor's moved on to Detective Comics. Now, Tom Taylor has started what might be one of the bigger stories, kind of stealth on the lowdown, of the main Batman line for the past few years. It is a personal story. It's a personal story about Bruce and even his dad, about making choices about who may deserve to live or die. Do we get to make these choices when you have the capability to save somebody? To give them an opportunity to be better. And the end of this Detective Comics book that I just read has the potential to really jar things for the Batman line. And I don't say that lightly, because there's a lot of hyperbole when it comes to superhero comics, and rightfully so. Because like folks are talking about all sorts of wild things. It'll change things forever. Blah de blah de friggin' blah. The reveal at the end of this is something that I really actually like felt. It's very interesting. So, all right, we have next The Sacred Damned. It is part of the Horizon experiment, which features these one-shots that will potentially build into different new stories. But the idea is to put POV characters in sort of like more tropey situations. So you have here from TV writer Sabir Parazda, who's done Ms. Marvel, Moon Knight, and Dandelion for television. Oh no, Dandelion, I believe they actually did. That was a graphic novel for Image. And the Eisner winning creator Michael Walsh, who's done The Silver Coin. They're presenting Anaya Jibril, a Muslim John Constantine, so a Hellblazer style type of exorcist, re-examining modern horror for fans of, say, The Department of Truth and Philadelphia. So I'm going to give a better pitch of that later when I get to read it, because as I've found with the previous Horizon experiment solicitation, it gives you a lot of the what the story is, but it doesn't give you the why. Why are we telling this story? Where's the emotion from it? Why is it going to connect with you? That I find is a big disconnect with a lot of people pitching comics these days. You can say what a story is about, but a person, unless you have a little bit of an extra hook, a little bit of something that can tug at the heart for folks, you're never going to connect it with that deeply with folks. Ackerman, this is their first Iron Man thing. I don't think they've really done much comics in general, but I've enjoyed their work outside of comics, and I'm really looking forward to reading this. I didn't get a chance to read it yet, but I from the page through, I like the pacing, I like what's happening, and honestly, I think it is going to be the best jumping on point that Iron Man has had in maybe 5 years. Because the last arc, Bless It, was really tied in with a lot of what was happening with the X-Men. And so you're not even just dealing with the Iron Man stuff, but you're dealing with the X-Men stuff, and you're kind of mixing things together. I like that this is seems to be sort of more of a baseline, even though it's pulling on different threads that are more tied with the Marvel Universe, but not making sure you have to know those threads. But I can give sort of a more concrete thing once I've read it later tonight. Finally, for single issues anyways, we have Null Hunter #1. It is also written by Michael Walsh, who drew The Sacred Damned. It's a Michael Walsh week, friendos. With art by rising star Gustavo Vargas. Null Hunter is a kinetic cyberpunk retelling of the labors of Hercules. Clay is a war hero who faces unspeakable tragedy after returning home. Seeking justice, he's forced into service for his estranged father's powerful company, Olympus. And his first mission takes him far away to the faraway N3M3A on the trail of a hijacked shipment of war lions. So we're thinking the Odyssey, but more of a space Odyssey. And again, I'm going to read this in a little bit. The image stuff comes in later. And the Iron Man one, I just didn't have a chance to really get to before the show. We also have the collected edition of The Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives from Dan Waters and Ram V. Ram V, one of my favorite writers right now. One of my absolute favorites. I'm excited for this because James Tynion and Martin Simmons kind of did a Dracula retake. This is commissioned by Universal, the Universal Monsters, and it takes a lot of their characters and kind of reinvents them in a little bit of a way, and does these beautiful prestige hardcovers. Years after the events of the original film, journalist Kate Marsden hunts for the notorious serial killer in the heart of the Amazon. Hot on the trail of this madman, she soon encounters an unexpected threat. It is their friend or foe, or is it simply the creature from the Black Lagoon? Absolutely gorgeous book. And this is the direct market exclusive cover, so you can't pop on Amazon and get this edition. No, sir. No, ma'am. You have to get this from comic shops. And finally, we have the big compendium collection of Scary Godmother from Jill Thompson. It's called This Is Your Childhood. It is big. It is a soft cover. It is gorgeous. Revisit this iconic best-selling eccentric fairy witch from start to finish in this deluxe compendium that also includes new Scary Godmother stories. So there's been a lot of Scary Godmother stories over the years. They are very great. They're very all ages personable. This is a large collection that has absolutely gorgeous art. My goodness. Perfect for spooky season. And, oh, what's this? Variant Edition is one of the few places that has exclusive signed book plates for these editions, signed by Jill Thompson, and it is like a little dedication thing, so you can even put this book belongs to, and you can put your little name on it and get something cool for yourself that not a lot of other places will have. Can you hear me now? Why? I'm almost done. I'm almost done. All right, folks. That's going to do it for this round. Thank you for being here today. The cats want to get out. I'm losing steam. I talked about a lot of stuff. And obviously I've got a few more things to read. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to watch some wrestling, as one does on a Tuesday night. And probably a little bit of the challenge, some of the old seasons that I've been burning through. You ever watch that show? It's a fun show. If you like drama, if you like tasks, if you like the seasons building on each other. It's basically like, let's say it's like a it predates Survivor, but what it does is sort of comic booky, where characters are reoccurring, except they're real and they're real people, and the troubles that build between them, and just the messiness. Love the drama. Love to get my drama yaws out there instead of just like drinking it in real life. Good stuff. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you are all having great times for yourself. I hope that you're all taking care of yourselves, and know that I'm going to talk with you all soon, and hope to see you in store. All right. Thank you so much. We'll talk. Like I said before, I guess we'll talk again soon. Brandon, you ruined the ending. All right. Bye.